Yeah, we've got to call it for what it is, which is just a pretty clear attempt by Peter Dutton to, instead of talking about real issues that matter to Australians into an election, we're instead just going to adopt Trump's model of fear of the other, fear of other people coming to this country and saying that we need to deport people from this country. This is something that was overturned by the High Court when the last Liberal government tried to implement it, because the concept of citizenship is so important under our system of governance and under our law. It's basically the effect of saying we are going to take away your rights to be in this country. It's a big deal. It's not something that should lie in the hands of government. Stripping someone's citizenship is not something that should be left at the whims of a minister, no matter the crime that someone commits. This is a higher ideal than that. And instead, we're going to whip up fear. We're going to try and get people scared so that they will vote for a particular political party. It's unacceptable. The Australian people really need to know and be able to call it out. But instead, we're again having this conversation as if this is a serious proposal put forward by a serious person who feels like he's going to run a serious government in the best interest of the Australian people. If this is his priority, quite frankly, I struggle to words in that regard. If this is his priority going into this election, I struggle to see how he's come to that conclusion other than to trying to say we're going to try and whip up fear in order to get people on our side, and it's something that we as Australians need to call out and be on standby for. I think it's quite telling that we've got talk of this new referendum, and we had a referendum in this term of Parliament and Peter Dutton opposed it. It was a referendum on enshrining First Nations voices in our Constitution. It was a referendum about empowering dispossessed people and making sure they had their place in our country's founding document. And he opposed that. He disagreed with that. He said it was bad. He said it would set a bad precedent. And now instead we're talking about putting these powers in that allow government to say you can no longer be an Australian. That's really dangerous. That's really dangerous to say you can no longer be an Australian. You no longer have rights, that a minister with a stroke of a pen can do that. That's a very dangerous precedent to set. And it all comes back to this whole concept of fear. It's the same reason he opposed the last referendum. It's the same reason he's proposing this one. It's ridiculous and it really needs to be called out. Like, this whole concept is about creating two classes of citizenship. You have citizens that were born here and citizens that weren't. And if you weren't born here, you're still subject at the end of the day to the minister's pen. It's not acceptable. It's not what citizenship is supposed to be. Citizenship is a higher ideal. Citizenship is something you aspire to. You have to work bloody hard to get to be a citizen of this country. You have to prove your worth to be a citizen of this country. Jump through so many hoops and be an upstanding citizen. There's so many more hoops that we hold dual citizens to than we hold native-born Australians to. This is putting in another level of scrutiny, another level of disagreement that these people have an inherent right to be here, that the stroke of a minister's pen, we can just send them packing back home. It's something that really needs to be stopped. It can't go ahead. Yeah, I think in terms of what's happened in the United States, this is supposed to be the country that is the land of the free. Like, it's a bunch of baloney now and it's being thrown completely out of the window. What we're seeing is really dangerous, and we're seeing a country really descending away from being a democracy into something else, some sort of an authoritarian, totalitarian sort of, whatever the president says is by definition gospel and the law of the land, which is really unacceptable. What we're already seeing is the United States attempting to interfere in Australia's affairs. We're seeing it with the tariffs. We're seeing it with the attacks on our pharmaceutical benefits scheme. We've seen it with letters being sent to Australian universities, making sure that what we're doing in Australian universities isn't environmental justice related issues, or what we're studying in Australian universities isn't linked to diversity, equity and inclusion. And we've seen some universities have their funding from the United States removed as punishment. So we're seeing foreign interference here in Australia already. Peter Dutton's approach to that is to say, on my first day, I'm going to fly to the United States and I'm going to basically suck up to Trump. And he says, we've got a lot in common, me and Trump. that's quite a dangerous thing to be saying. We've got a lot in common with someone who's eroding democracy at home, whipping up fear in order to get elected. Yeah, I can see there's quite a lot in common between Trump and Peter Dutton. It's going to be interesting to see what happens if Peter Dutton wins this election. I hope he doesn't.